Recognize it? That's the site of Shakey's last stand back in May. Now it's September. Wasn't expecting to be back on this slope this year, this time of year, but someone's actually paying me to go collect some of those ash trees we've seen previously. It's Fraxinus velutina. Collecting them to help someone figure out whether it may be not more properly called Fraxinus coriacea, and I'll be looking for Fraxinus cuspidata along the way too. Not in this drainage, but kind of around and back that away. Anyway, I'm on this mission in this county, not just in this of all my favorite places right here, but we're just happen to start out here this September 13th, 2020. Basically going up this wash until I find that water, find those frogs, find those ashes. Be interesting to see if there's even still any water here, since it has not really rained since April, May or so. Summer of total dryness. You never know that car basically died right here a few months ago, would you? There's no reason to know that. The perches are looking quite drought-stricken, aren't they? This one's okay, but black brushes looking really bad. There it is. Not sure why I called it Fraxinus anomala last time. Clearly has pinnately compound leaves. Clearly tall statured tree of the wash here. Gonna have to call it, revise that original mistake into Fraxinus velutina. As soon as I got the request to collect these things, I knew immediately my mistake, and that this was a new population in this area, actually. Not much of a population, it may just be one. Otherwise, not much else going on here. Middle September, during the height of the drought. Definitely several more individuals around here, so it is indeed a working population. Pretty cool. Finding populations of something this big is not exactly rare, but not exactly common either. The bark gets rather deeply furrowed and ridged with age. So much so that it doesn't support lichen growth, apparently. Maybe one or two species, and that's it, of lichen. This cottonwood is starting to go yellow in an unhealthy, sickly, drought-stricken way rather than in the healthy autumnal way. Might not make it. Taller ones reaching further down, they're fine. But these smaller ones, without as well of developed rootstocks, may not make it through a season like this. This blackbrush can look particularly hideous in a drought. They basically look charred. But they're used to it. Look at all that greenery down there. In the Meadow Valley Wash now. Just collected some more Fraxinus velutina, some salix. Sorry I didn't show you. I forgot while enjoying my lunch. Well, look at this. The next canyon I'm going up. Oh, some Bailea still around in September. My goodness. After no rain. That's something else. Anyway, this canyon I'm going up becomes a cave of some sort. Looks man-made though. Time to look for the next species up that away though. I'm gonna crawl in. The Eriogonum in fruit, but still quite green. Leaves aren't shriveled up yet, like some I saw on some more exposed slopes. Again, this is September now without any precip to speak of. Maybe a little bit here, but not much. And possibly none at all. The entire summer, since April now. And well over 100 degrees on many days of each week throughout the summer. Although probably more like 99, 98 in these particular parts. On average for the high temps during the hot spells. It's incredible no matter how you think about it. Datura's still blooming at night, I'm pretty sure. I've been seeing lots of shriveled blooms along the roadsides. These plants are something else. Look at this place. No rain, no cloud. There's still flowers without any rain. Some brachelias. Feels nice and cool. Here at Ash Springs. It's a town I've passed by a few times, but I didn't realize it meant springs of ash trees. Lots of yerba mansa coating the ground, indicating water. Here's a Fraxinus velutina again, or Coriacea, we'll see. Here's another individual. And there's quite a few cottonwoods here, too. There are the springs themselves. There's a little party going on at a pool over there. I'll leave them their privacy, but yeah. Nice little excursion collecting ash trees today. Quite enjoyed it. This one is quite towering here at Ash Springs. It's a full-on canopy tree, East Coast style. Nice little oasis. Technically in California right now, looking for ash trees. But over the Inyos there, in Saline Valley and whatnot, Nevada's just over there. The Sierra Nevada are right there. Oh my. Hard to talk in the ash club. We should normally be seeing Mount Whitney and other peaks of the range of light at the moment. But these are the ash clouds getting so much headline at the moment worldwide. Jeez, really it's hard to talk and breathe out here. Anyway, need to follow this drainage a little upwards and look for some more Fraxinus. That's the Manzanar site out there, so there have been worse times in this valley, such as when Japanese Americans were just put in that camp over there, that internment camp, concentration camp, whatever you want to call it. You can see one of the old wooden towers in the distance there, though. It's a national park now, serving as a reminder of what can happen in times of hatred and war. Seeing quite a bit of invasive Robinia along the dry wash, but no ashes, no Fraxinus. So it's time to head further south to keep looking. Pretty ash cloudy. Further south now, ash is a little bit better, as you can see, in that direction at least. That's the former site of Owens Lake before it was dried up. And this drainage is called Ash Creek, and hopefully it's not just cottonwoods and willows and such, but I'll find some ashes down there. And there's the Sierra, obscured in the ash cloud. Kind of on the boundary of this major ash cloud, fortunately for me. But you can imagine what effect those winds are having on whatever fires there are that do exist around here. Not good. Just clear, dry skies all day, every day for the foreseeable future. Clear in terms of natural cloud, that is. Here it is in southeastern California, Fraxinus velutina, possibly Fraxinus coriacea. Here at the base of the eastern Sierra Nevada. Not all that far from Mount Whitney, the highest point in the contiguous United States. One of the bigger populations I've seen so far, I'd say, in terms of height of the individuals. Good 50 feet perhaps tall in some places. Not as big as the cottonwoods though. Alright, I'll wrap up here quickly and move along. Hit the hot springs soon along the way. There's still water coming off the Sierra, even this low in elevation at 4,000 feet, so not all hope is lost. Here's a much healthier individual with its feet a bit wetter. Equisetum everywhere. And there's a rattier looking individual. Quite young, this one, huh? That trunk is not very thick and wrinkled yet. Furrowed. While most of the yellow there is coming off from the samaras, the fruits, the leaves are also beginning to lose their green. Some autumn coming in on the distant cottonwood there. And that Fraxinus is also yellowing. Yep. Here I am at the Dirty Sock Springs. Pretty murky. I'm probably not gonna go in. I don't like swimming that much as it is. Probably has something to do with why I'm living in the desert right now, but there's a lot of algae in there and I can't see anything, so I'm a little put off unless I find, you know, some other area where the clearer pools are. I'm gonna pass. I think this is it. Look around a little bit first, though. And that's the Owens Valley, completely murked out by ash cloud. No visibility out there. A lot clearer where I'm going. Looking forward to that. I was coughing up a storm at Manzanar there. Unreal. Lots of bad particulates in the air. Time to end the California portion of the Fraxinus excursions. After the Owens Valley, I made my way down here to the Mojave River Valley in this boomtown of Victorville, boomtown of golf courses and continuous development. Got some plane trees here, sycamores, platanus. And here's our large individuals of Fraxinus velutina again. Maybe coriacea, maybe not. There's another one I collected from on the corner there. I found some others inside this little park here, and they're all on a disc golf course. So their indigenous status is a little bit suspect. I got some of them. I got some of these on the periphery that must be indigenous, I would say. Even though there's plenty of robinias around and other planted individuals. This is actually the Mojave River floodplain right there. You can see the wash perhaps through the cottonwoods. So that does seem indigenous to me. Fairly well-visited drainage here. Pine Creek at Red Rocks. Looks like it's so named because we have ponderosas growing in the Mojave Desert. What's a yucca baccata around? Just saw creosote. So, kind of lower montane Mojave right here. Some junipers appearing. We know we're not in the lowest portions of the desert. At least a couple thousand feet above the Las Vegas Valley here. So in addition to pines, supposedly there are ashes along this creek. Some verdant greenery more upstream. Could be cottonwoods, could be the ashes. It's not a very long trail system up this drainage, so I will find out soon either way. Yucca shedidra and Yucca brevifolia here too. So go just a tad lower and you know for certain that you're in the Mojave Desert. But here, even though there are a lot of Mojave Desert taxa around, all those yuccas visible out there, for example, we got Artemisia tridentata and Arctostaphylos right here. So it's a transition zone occurring regardless of who's inhabiting the wash over there because of the elevated moisture levels below it. Lots of Persia, all leafless at this point, drought stricken. This gig's pretty good because the plants are visible from quite a distance. Can't get too much more visible in the desert. Got all those green emeralds out there. Some of them are ash, not all of them. We'll see exactly who's over there in a second, but some of them are. And it's just a matter of going up to each one and looking for the compound leaves. Contrast with a lot of work I've done previously looking for some of the more inconspicuous plants of planet Earth. Sprawling in wet understories amongst, dozens to hundreds of other species of kind of non-flowering or inconspicuously flowering leaves. And, tropical forests of Asia and such. Those can be quite hard to find. These ash trees in the desert. Piece of cake. Incredible bright greenness as usual. Really got an eye for these things pretty quickly. Just collecting them for a couple weeks. And I'm sure I'm going to notice them in a lot of other places now. Particularly areas where they're probably not known from henceforth, because it's pretty clear that they don't need surface water, even though they're very much riparian trees. Seems like I've been finding them in dry washes more often than wet ones. Quite a few of them here. It's a rather large population. Some older and some younger. A lot of variation in these leaflets. Some can be more elliptic and others can be even obovate. They are always stately riparian trees, though. Unless they're young, of course. That one's rather obovate. And that one's rather ovate. And that one's rather elliptic. Parts of this one are rather dead, but this individual has a lot more leaflets per leaf. At least 5 on average. than that last individual, just down the wash a tiny bit. Some of the leaflets can be ovatish, but most of them are clearly more narrowly elliptic and even asymmetric in a lot of cases. That one's kind of oblanceolate to obovate. And lower, some of those shade leaves are more broad. So the leaf variation within and across individuals is influenced by something besides, mere environmental variation. These are all the same species, but if you were looking at them on just some pressed sheets, you perhaps would maybe think they're different, just based on the leaflet sizes and number variations. It's rather incredible. Even cattails in this dry wash signaling that the water is not too far below the surface here. Solidagos as well, pretty much indicating water. Goldenrods. Pretty large bulrushes and solidagos right there. Definitely indicating water below that surface. As if the Fraxinus gave us any doubt. Ponderosa might give us some doubt. This is really low for them. We're just below 4,000 feet, so it does make sense that ponderosas to live this low in this part of the world would, need to have access to more or less perennial water. They've been here a long time. That one's a bit younger. I'd be surprised if they last all that much longer. This low down certainly breaks 100 degrees right here in this spot many times over the course of the summer these days. You can kind of see that. See the dead ones below here? And yeah, very few if any beyond that. Fairly stately ones over there. And then they become more common and conspicuous further up canyon. And then suddenly, just slightly more downstream, pinyon pines become riparian taxa alongside desert willows. I mean, just 100 yards or less this happened. Had Fraxinus and Ponderosa giving rise to pinions in desert willows. And junipers. And oaks. It's so choked with oak now that it's hard to get out to those open flats and slopes beyond the wash. It's a nice spot to end the gig, I'd say. We're in a place called Calico Basin. Looks like quite a few multimillionaires live up here in this basin. Can't blame them not wanting to live in the Las Vegas Valley. But yeah, it's a shame not everyone live in a nice place like this, obviously, but so it goes with 8 billion people or so. Anywho, the last population on my radar for now, for this series at least, this gig, this contract, straight ahead. Got a grove, all kinds of emeralds of the desert. Cottonwoods, fraxinus, and surely some other things. Get some Belia still hanging on. 5 months since the last rain, most likely in this spot. Almost too easy. The place is called Ash Spring, which I believe is at the base of Ash Canyon. I got these towering emeralds, far more common than the cottonwoods even. Goodness. Compared to those little carry-offs always looking for, it's just too easy. It's hard to just stop and pick one. Not that I'm only sampling one, but jeepers. Probably get that one for the voucher, for the herbarium vouchers, since it has a lot of fruit still. And it seems representative. And I'll walk 100, 200 feet or so and grab another one, or even a third one. Alright, my friends, if you're ever in Las Vegas, you know, lose all the glass and concrete, and heat for that matter, and come up on here, the Calico Basin, the Red Rocks area. It's a little crowded at the trailheads, but once you leave the road, kind of have the place to yourself, especially on a Monday morning like today.